Hello dear aspirants and welcome to the YouTube channel of The Study. In the previous lecture, we learned about Sultanate architecture under Indo-Islamic architectural style. Today we'll learn about its next phase, that is the Mughal architecture. So let's start with today's topic. The foundation of the new style of architecture in the form of Indo-Islamic architectural style was laid in India in the 13th century itself. Arches were used in it, and with its help, domes and entrances were built. The arrival of the Mughals brought new life into Indo-Islamic architecture, as there was a considerable decline in architectural activities during the Lodi period. The Mughals soon understood that they would not be able to establish an everlasting empire in India until they would take the local people with them and mix up with them. In this sequence, the Mughals continued the Sultanate architectural tradition and introduced better coordination between the arches and the Sahtiri lintel style. Thus, the new style of architecture introduced in the 13th century reached its apogee in this period. The logical culmination of the trends in the royal building style or imperial style and provincial style of Sultanate architecture has been seen in Mughal architecture. The trends of balance, harmonious planning and integration took a permanent form in Mughal architecture. Let us now have a look at some of the major features of Mughal architecture. In fact, Mughal architecture is the last stage of Indo-Islamic architecture with Iranian elements, Durrani elements, Sultanate elements and Indian elements amalgamated with each other. Rough stone, red sandstone and marbles, all three have been used under the style. The use of curved, angled and colored arches in building construction is the significance of the Mughal architecture. Also, the use of Pitradura technique for decoration is the main feature of Mughal architecture. Along with this, special attention has been given to grandeur, spaciousness, embellishment and minute specifications. Having an eye at the sequence of development of Mughal architecture, it was started by Babur, it was developed by Akbar, it reached its apogee at the time of Shah Jahan and it began to decline during Aurangzeb's time. Let us now understand the process of Mughal architecture in detail. Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire, was a lover of art and culture and had amazing aesthetic interest. Although he did not get time to build more buildings in India, as 4 years of his rule were spent in war, yet Babur was a great connoisseur of art. He saw a lack of symmetry and balance in the local architecture here. The few mosques that were built by him were rebuilt on the old building itself. Therefore, his architecture does not reflect his imagination. Nevertheless, Kabuli Bagh Mosque of Panipat, Jami Masjid of Sambhal, Babri Masjid of Ayodhya, prepared by Mir Baqi, are the splendid instances of Babur period. He showed special interest in the construction of gardens. While making the garden, he ensured that its arrangement was harmonious and perfectly geometric. It is from here that the tradition of those gardens, which till now are known as Mughal gardens, the gardens built by him are Ram Bagh and Jahra Bagh in Agra. After Babur's death, his son Humayun succeeded him. Like Babur, Humayun also got less time for architectural construction. Actually, Humayun was defeated by Sher Shah Suri and chased away from India. However, after taking refuge in Iran, Humayun overthrew Sikandar Shah Sur and regained his throne. 2 mosques built in the buildings built by Humayun. In addition, he laid the foundation of a new city named Deenapana. In fact, the most important buildings in this period were built in Sasaram and Delhi. Sasaram's building include a full range of tombs. Among them, Sher Shah Suri's tomb is the most prominent one. This tomb was built by balancing the octagonal specimen of the Lodis with a veranda around it, which was built in the midst of a large pond. The arches on all its sides and the huge and wide dome were built above the synagogue. Its walls are made of grey stone and the gate is made of red sandstone. Being situated on a high right-angled platform, the height of this octagonal huge building is seen as well as its strength. Apart from this, Sher Shah Suri also built the Purana Killa in Delhi and then the Killa Kohana Mosque inside it. The fortified walls of the Purana Killa are made of huge, partially fabricated stones. In this way, the buildings constructed under Sher Shah can be considered as the culmination of the style of Lodhi's buildings and the beginning of a new phase. The actual phase of Mughal architecture begins during the reign of Akbar. During the reign of Akbar, two traditions of architectures were working together. One was the Iranian tradition brought by Humayun, and the other was the Indian tradition. Iranian tradition was used in Humayun's tomb in Delhi. It was built by his widowed wife Hamida Banu Begum. It was designed by the Persian craftsman Malik Mirza Ghias Beg. This right-angled building was made up of red sandstone and is situated on a high platform with a beautiful dome built of white marbles on top of it. The use of a double dome is a feature of Iranian architecture. Its preliminary use can be seen in the tomb of Sikandar Lodi, but its mature form is seen in Humayun's tomb. Another feature showing Iranian influence in this is the order of the rooms inside. There are separate rooms in the corridor instead of an enclosure. These corridors are interlinked, but such an order could also be seen in the early Turkish buildings. On the other hand, its Indian speciality is that the entire building is located in a garden built according to plan. There is a huge entrance to the garden. The image of the dome is enhanced by the four thin towers, which were characteristics of the Gujarati architectural style. Attractive chhatris were a well-known feature of Rajasthan. A special art of building gardens was also developed to enhance the beauty of Mughal architecture. All the mausoleums he built were set amidst gardens which are inspired by the Char Bagh style. Its purpose seems to have to provide divine status to the departed souls. In this way, better coordination of the two styles is seen in Akbar's architecture, and on analysis, the following characteristics of the Akbar architecture are seen, such as red sandstone is mainly used in building construction. Maximum use of beams and lintel, shahtiri can be used in them. Arches or mihrabs have been used mainly for decorations. Akbar's building construction projects can be divided into two groups. Both represent different stages. The first group mainly consists of forts and buildings in Agra, Allahabad and Lahore. Agra was the main center of Akbar's rule. On the banks of the Yamuna in Agra, he started the construction of his famous fort made of red sandstone in 1565, which was completed by 1574. On either side of the high sandstone walls facing the entrances were bastions, burj, huge halls, mosques, markets, bathrooms, gardens and houses for the courtiers and the nobility. The Agra fort with all these characteristics created a framework for the construction of royal forts such a way that it became a model for future forts. Agra fort was situated in 1.5 miles in diameter and 70 feet high walls. It has two gates, Delhi Gate and the Amar Singh Gate. At these gates, Akbar made statues of two brave Rajput heroes, Jaimal and Fatta, who sacrificed their lives in defense of Mewar. Simultaneously, Akbar built more than 500 buildings of red sandstone in the best architectural style of Bengal and Gujarat in it. Although most of the buildings were destroyed by Shah Jahan to pave the way for his style of construction, yet the residual part of Akbari Mahal and Jahangiri Mahal gave us an idea of what type of architecture was used. The second phase of construction began in Fatehpur Sikri during the reign of Akbar. The buildings of Fatehpur Sikri can be divided into two categories, religious and non-religious buildings. Prominent among the religious buildings are the Jama Masjid and the tomb of Sheikh Salim Chishti. Religious buildings are generally constructed in a semicircular or arched style, while non-religious buildings were predominated in the lintel or sahtiri style. The Jama Masjid built here has a veranda, archway, toran-path on three sides and a dome on the top. The mausoleum of Sheikh Salim Chishti was constructed in 1581, which is a beautiful piece of architecture and is a classic example of artistic use of marbles in India. It has been made of white marbles reticulation. Quranic verses in Arabic are inscribed on its wall. It is situated in a royal complex. It also has Jama Masjid and Buland Darwaza. The Buland Darwaza was built by Akbar in 1575 to commemorate the Gujarat conquest. It is made of red and yellow sandstone, and white marbles has also been used to create the outline of the arches mihrabs. In addition, palaces and administrative buildings are prominent among the non-religious buildings of Fatehpur Sikri. The largest of them is the Jodhabai Mahal. It is grand and unpretentious. The technique of controlling the temperature of room has also been used according to the seasons. Another unique building of this palace complex is the Panch Mahal, which is 5-storied, based on the Hindu style of horizontal construction consisting of pillars, architraves, and niches. The pillared open veranda is designed for the purpose of shade and fresh air. Amongst the administrative buildings, Diwani Khas is the most distinct and different. This building is planned in rectangular form and has 2 floors on the outside. It has a flat roof with a pillared umbrella on each corner of the pillars. The second important building is the category is the Diwani Arm. It is a large rectangular veranda surrounded by columns on all 4 sides. Apart from this, Ibadat Khana has been built in this complex by Akbar to discuss with various religious leaders. Akbar also built a Hiran Minar in memory of his favorite elephant named Hiran. Its outer wall have ivory-like pointed corners. Additionally, there is a small chamber surrounded by the Koti veranda of the Turkish Sultanate. Percy Brown called it the pearl of architecture because it used wood technology so brilliantly. It also has beautiful carvings on the outside and inside of the walls. Thus, there is an amalgamation of different styles in Akbar's architecture. This amalgamation is an expression of those experiments of integration that Akbar undertook for the consolidation of his empire. So that's all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll learn more about the story of Mughal architecture. Thank you, and please like, share and subscribe the channel.